All right, Infernal Blessings. We are back with another video. It is December 31st, 2023. Happy New Year's Eve to everybody watching this video. And I want to wish you guys a Happy New Year's, which will be tomorrow if you're watching this video on New Year's Eve. Anyway, 2024 is here. So hopefully everybody, again, had a Merry Christmas. And hopefully everybody else has a safe and happy New Year. So season's greetings, happy holidays, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, all that good stuff. All right. I thought I'd do this video. You see the title. I thought it would be appropriate, especially as I said, when you add up the date today, 12/31/2023. It's 123, 123. When you add it up, it literally equals 12. 1 and 2 is 3. 33, as I said, is a sacred number. I broke that down. It opens up the pineal gland, the 3. Multiples of 3, as I said, you can vibrate that in a mantra, chant it, visualize it. It does activate the pineal, the power of the number 3. It's also the sacred degree in Freemasonry or Masonry, right? The 33rd degree, as I said in the past, which is a degree you must be given an invitation to be initiated in, all right? I'm elaborating on that in a second. Let me get to the quick announcements first. First and foremost, if you are interested in a 2024 yearly forecast reading, I'm doing those now until roughly about the first week in February. Okay, if you'd like to book one, shoot me an email, khnum19@gmail.com. Please include in the subject box of your email, please include the title, yearly forecast reading, so it stands out. If you're interested in a yearly forecast reading, or you're interested in any other type of reading I offer a Klipothic demonic reading, a Santa Muerte reading, an Egyptian oracle reading, a shadow work reading, any of the aforementioned, shoot me an email at khnum19@gmail.com, and I will send you information on how to book a spiritual reading or a consultation. Please include in the email a full list of your availability, not just one day and one time, full 7-day, what you're available throughout the week, and please include the time zone you're in. That will save time in speeding up the booking process, okay? All right, in addition to that, also, if you're interested in signing up for classes, the way you do that is go to the official Primordial Chaos Patreon page, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti, Tier 3. That gives you access to all of the ongoing continual series of classes that I do offer. And again, when you join, you don't just get access to the classes from the day forward you join, you get everything, access to everything in the archives, which is over 3+ years worth of classes and content. You're not going to get anything. Trust me when I tell you this. I say this with confidence, not arrogance. The amount of information and classes that's on there, you are not getting it anywhere else for the price that I offer. I don't give a fuck. I stand behind that. And I say that with confidence, not arrogance. There's no excuse for you to take your spiritual path to that next level. I'm covering every topic you can think of for the most part, and I'm always open to suggestions if there's something there that I'm not covering, okay? So check that out, patreon.com/Baniti, Baniti, Tier 3. I do 3 private classes every month on Patreon for Patreon members only, including the group ritual. Everything is archived in the collection section on the Patreon page, categorized in chronological order. All the group rituals are organized. So again, everything is set up very convenient and easy for your spiritual growth. All right, check us out on Instagram, Primordial Chaos 9. 1 word. Facebook, Primordial Chaos, 2 words. Don't forget to check out the Primordial Chaos podcast. The link to the podcast, my contact email, the link for the Patreon page to sign up for classes, all of that is in the description box of the video you're watching right now. All right, you see the video, you see the title, right? The degrees of Masonry, King Solomon's Temple, and the degrees of Masonry. First and foremost, let me make this clear. I'm speaking from personal experience. So you can't bullshit me on this one. I am a Mason, have been for now almost 23 years, going on 24 years. I've gone through all the lodge degrees. I've mentioned this in the past in a year. So I'm not speaking just from reading books. I'm not speaking from my opinion. I'm not speaking from just research I did, okay? Research, all that stuff is great, but I'm speaking from experience as a Mason, okay? Just want to make that clear, because there's a lot of people, as I've said out here over the years, non-Masons and religious folks, or people that know absolutely nothing about Freemasonry and make false statements and claims of stupidity and have no fucking clue and idea of what they're talking about, okay? So I don't care who and what you are, and be careful. I've also seen videos over the years of so-called guys that were Masons and left and make these ridiculous bullshit claims, and usually I'm skeptical on that, because that's something that was planned, or there's something that happened, something went down and you're not getting the full story. I even challenge any of those fucking individuals on some of the bullshit claims that people make and say, because I would have to talk to any ex-Mason that claims they left and says it's this, that, or had some negative shit to say. We would have to have a personal conversation about exactly what happened. And if you're making claims, I would like to know what lodge this stuff so-called went down in, okay? So I'm going to speak from my perspective. I've had nothing but positive experiences over the years in Freemasonry. I've been fortunate to belong to a great lodge that has an esoteric occult society. I was raised in a great lodge, brotherhood, learning about esotericism, spirituality, again, really making yourself the best man that you can be, etc. Okay, so let me put that out there. But this kind of going to piggyback off the last video. I was talking about the keys and the seals of Solomon. Also, for those, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who have a general history of Masonry that aren't Masonry, that are not Masons. So I know most people will be able to relate to what I'm talking about. Again, this is just a quick tutorial. I'm not going to be able to really get into in-depth, detailed things about Masonry, because that's not what these videos are for. Okay, and maybe I'll do a live where I can focus more time on that. We'll see. All right. So when we talk about the building of Solomon's temple, when you look at the biblical story, right, we know in the Bible, and as I said, the character of Solomon, he's one of the major prophets of Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. We know to this day, Solomon's temple is a very sacred site or holy place that all three religions have laid claim belongs to them. We know the history of the Crusades. There's been bloodshed and wars going on for the control of the sacred site of Solomon's temple in Jerusalem between the Muslims, Christians, and the Jews, right? We all know this history. We see what's going on today over there in Israel and Lebanon, right? That's at the root of this conflict too. But anyway, this video is not about that. The mysteries of the building of Solomon's temple and Freemasonry or Masonry, okay, is based on the precepts, not so much just about the literal temple of Solomon's temple described in the stories in the books of the Bible. But as I said before, the mysteries of Solomon's temple is about you, the initiate, that goes through the degrees. That is the temple. We see in many different spiritual systems, they say the body is the temple, and the mind and the soul is contained within the spiritual body, not just the physical body. But this is what you are becoming, a self-perfected being is the term, right? I've explained to everybody many times over the years, when you go through the Masonic Lodge, right? When you look in the east, you see the altar, you see the worshipful master who sits in the east, the all-seeing eye of God. And then you'll have two stones on each side of the worshipful master. One is a very rough stone, and as I said, the other one is a very smooth, perfected ashlar. That is symbolic of you, the initiate. When you enter the lodge, you are a rough ashlar. You have a lot of imperfections. You have a lot of things about yourself you need to work on. A lot of things you need to correct. Sounds familiar? Sounds like shadow work to me, right? And your goal is, after being raised to a master mason, you become that smooth ashlar, a self-perfected being. So it's a degree system. It's an initiation system, just like many other systems, and just like many things we do on the occult or the left-hand path. So you come in as a rough ashlar, and you're supposed to exit as a smooth ashlar. Now, I'm just talking about the 3 main degrees right now of Freemasonry in the Blue House, which is the Entered Apprentice degree, Fellcraft degree, and the Master Mason degree. Now, your Masonic journey, if you so choose, continues well after that. After that, you can go York Rite or Scottish Rite up to the 32nd. Right? That's the number. And then the 33rd degree is only conferred upon individuals who are selected and invited to apply and get initiated. I'm not going to get into that here. That's a whole nother video in itself. Okay? This is also symbolic, too, of going up the ascension of Jacob's ladder. Right? Because this also deals with the activation of the pineal. Right? There's that sacred number 3 and 3. Right, which is 6, which is nothing but an inverted 9, multiples of 3. There's many spiritual sciences behind that number, and that's why it holds many mystical meanings. Okay, so the temple you're working on when you enter the Masonic Lodge is yourself. Right, that's no different than what we talk about on the left-hand path of the occult. We're trying to perfect ourselves. We use shadow work, demonic integration work, other spiritual practices to attain that level and to get to that quote-unquote level of self-mastery, right? When you get into the lodge, you know, they don't talk religion or politics, right? You don't have to be any specific religion to become a Mason. You quote-unquote just need belief. Or not even want to use the word belief. That may not even be the correct word. You must acknowledge the existence of a supreme being, right? And you also have the ability in the Masonic Lodge, if you choose, to take your oath when you're initiated on whatever sacred text is of your religion. 9 out of 10 times it's the Bible, but let's just say you're a Muslim and you want to take your oath on the Quran. Let's just say you're a Hindu and you want to take your oath on the Bhagavad Gita. You just must acknowledge the existence of, whether you want to call it some supreme being, and that can be interpreted in many different ways, right? So Masonry has a lot of self-mastery principles to it. And now don't get me wrong, depends on where you go in the country and what type of lodge you belong to. And I'm telling you this from my experience in Masonry. Some lodges can be a little bit more religious, and it depends on the location and the history of the lodge. And sometimes a lot of the older or elder folks in the lodge just don't want to let go of that power and that grip. I find more lodges in the Bible Belt tend to be a little more biblical based. But when you find a more open lodge, such as the one I've belonged to, and they have stuff like an esoterical society, they're a bit more open with the spirituality of the Masonic Lodge, okay? But overall, if you really understand Freemasonry and what it's really about, it's not about that stupid shit, the conspiracy shit that you hear people talk about out their ass. First of all, anybody that, I don't care if it's any mystical order, any sacred order, this, that, or the other, any individual that makes claims about Masonry, the Shriners, OTO, any of these esoteric, the Rosicrucian order. First of all, if you're not an initiated member, what the fuck could you possibly know? Other than hearsay. And this doesn't count. Well, I knew somebody that told me and said that. That doesn't count. If you don't have firsthand experience, like myself and others, shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about. Stop talking out your ass. I can make a lot of claims about things I don't have experience. Say, well, such and such, Joe Blow told me, and I had a friend who knew a friend that knew a friend, and they... Stop. That's gossip shit. right? That's not facts. Okay? And if you claim, and I'm making this claim, if you claim the stupid shit I've heard over the years, if you claim that you were a Mason and you're so-called ex-Mason now, and they did these, what you term so-called devilish practices, and they sacrificed animals, and they had sexual orgies. I've heard all this bizarre shit. I've never seen not one of it a day in my life in any Masonic lodge. In any place I traveled, the Masonic lodges that I've had the privilege of traveling to, affiliate with, and the Masonic brothers that I've known over the years have been strictly about the craft. And the craft is about perfecting yourself. So all that other sensational shit that you hear, I'm just saying, if you're one who's making them claims, well, first of all, if you're making them claims and you've never been in a Masonic lodge or initiated, it doesn't even count. So I'm not even going to waste my time with that. But I'm speaking to motherfuckers that claim they were ex-Masons and this stuff took place. Give me the lodge number. All you had to do was get the lodge number, report that shit to their Grand Lodge. Give me the lodge number. Let me look into it. Okay? And that will just shut and put all that shit to rest. And if that is so-called going on, people making their claims, then something needs to be done about that shit, because that's not real Masonry. Masonry is built around the mysteries of Solomon's temple, not just the literal physical building of it, but the esoterical breakdown of it and how it ties into yourself, right? And to understand the three basic principles of the 3 degrees in the blue house. Entered apprentice, you come in, that's what it is. You know what an apprentice is. You come in as an entered apprentice, right? You're stripped and divested of all metals, right? You enter the lodge from the anteroom between the pillars of Jachin and Boaz, which you will find a lot of things referenced in the so-called scriptures. It's there, right? It's built, it's an esoterical, mystical, spiritual system that's rooted in scripture and Bible teaching, but more so like what I do in the esoterical occult Bible study class. There's more of a deeper breakdown. So you come in as an entered apprentice, right? Then your 2nd degree, which is the fellowcraft degree, which leads you to your master masonry degree, which is death and rebirth. So it's coming in and going through that again, spiritually or symbolic, birth, death, and resurrection, right? Because remember, and again, I'm not telling you nothing I can't tell you that you can't research for yourself. On the 3rd degree in Masonry, you're resurrected from the grave with the lion's paw grip. And if you pay attention out here in society, you'll see a lot of people doing that on a very subliminal level, because sometimes it's the language through symbols and signs and tokens, the way Masons will communicate with each other. But you're raised up from the grave of the dead with the lion's paw. And then you're given, well, really it's the substitute word of a Master Mason. It's not really, you get the word on that 3rd degree, but when you continue your journey further, you get the actual hidden meaning or the real word of a Master Mason. I'm not going to get into that here. But my point is, it's very in alignment with what we do in our ritual work, right? You come on this path, right, which you're reborn again, right? But in order to resurrect and have that rebirth, right, you come in as a newbie or an apprentice, right? Then you must be deconstructed and torn apart, which is represented of destroying and death process of removing all those weak old ways about yourself that are holding you back. And then only then can you be resurrected and raised to become a master, right? Right in alignment with what we do. Now, I'm not saying, look, again, please don't email me. I'm interested in being a Mason. Should I get initiated? Or if you're a female, which is the female Masonic order, I'm interested in becoming an Eastern Star. Should I get initiated? I can't answer that question for you. And I'm not going to tell you should or you should not, because one, as I said in the past, I don't want to be held responsible for a positive or a negative experience, right? And more so for the second part, because I don't want nobody ever to reach out to me and go, I did it, man, and I didn't like it, and this, that, or the other. I'm not going to be held accountable for that. So you need to come to that conclusion on your own. I have guided people in the right direction in their area of how to find a Masonic lodge. That I have no problem doing. But I'm not going to tell you should or you should not. That's a decision you have to make for yourself. Okay? So, but I would encourage, even if you don't decide to become a full initiated Mason or Eastern Star if you're a female, I do encourage you to study and research. There's a lot of great books on Masonry out there. I definitely would encourage, despite what people would say, Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike. I would definitely read. That's a great book to read. A real good beginner's book, that series, how they have those books for dummies, Masonic book for dummies, is a great book that gives you a lot of just the basic fundamentals. More so for brand new spanking beginners, Masonic terms, just the generalization of what Masonry is about, things of that nature. And you'll see it's pretty much right along in alignment with what we do. You're not going to see, much of a difference as far as the purpose. Now, how we get to that purpose, that might vary. That might be a little bit different, and the different systems and methodologies we might use, yes. Right? But there's a lot of similarities. So I just wanted to clarify that and piggyback off that first video, because I did have a little bit more about the generalization understanding of Masonry that I wanted to add to it, but I just didn't have time to do it in that video. So I wanted to do it in this video. So that hopefully gives you a basic foundational understanding of what Masonry is about. Now, I do elaborate more on this in the Esoterical Occult Bible study class. Might be a possibility I start a series on this, right? But if you want to learn more about the esotericism, the occult, and Masonry, I do have an ongoing series on Patreon, Esoterical Occult Bible study class, where I go into these mysteries. And this is the things I talk about. And this is a general area of interest for a lot of people, right? And my goal, again, of having the Patreon page, the mentorship programs, the classes, is I break things down in these aspects for those that really want to grow and learn. So if you really are interested in things like that, that's the purpose of the Patreon page. So I would encourage you to most definitely check that out, get on there, and I'll go in deep. I'm just not going to do it here on YouTube, right? I have enough of videos and information up on here that can open up your senses. And the Patreon page is to take that to the whole next level with ritual work, with more information, with more detailed breakdowns, right? That's the purpose, all right? So having said that, I'm going to leave this video here. It is New Year's Eve. I just picked up a couple of goodies for later this evening. We're just going to be chilling in the house this evening, listening to some music, just continue enjoying the holiday season, watching a couple movies, break the champagne open at midnight, have a little dessert. It's what we do on New Year's Eve. And then we winding down, right? 12 days of Christmas. We're in the middle of it. And we're just going to enjoy the few days that's left in this holiday season. Love this time of year, as I've said. Kind of disappoints me a little bit when it's over, and I'm looking forward to next year as soon as it's over. But having said that, again, if you need to reach out to me, contact email address in the description box of the video. The direct link to the Primordial Chaos Patreon page to sign up for classes in the description box of the video. Links to the social media pages in the description box of the videos. Link for the podcast in the description box of this video. And all those links are in the description box of the video you're watching right now and in all the previous videos. All right? Having said that, I want to wish everybody a happy and healthy 2024 New Year. It's going to be an interesting ride. Got a lot of work to do. Let's get it in. Infernal blessings. Talk to you guys soon.